Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is we discuss a variety of topics about social, psychological, coaching related topics, and ultimately, we try to make that as simple as possible. Today, we're going to talk about signs that you have abandonment related challenges. And if you are struggling with abandonment related challenges or negative relationship experiences that you believe may have roots in abandonment related issues, I encourage you to reach out. I work with people that are dealing with those challenges and kind of reworking and rewiring their brain through the coaching techniques that I've used in the last 14 years to be able to get to a positive place. And ultimately, we are going to kind of move forward in that way and kind of look at some reasons that exists, about half a dozen or so reasons that would exist for people, and signs that you may be dealing with that. So, the first is understanding, just a basic understanding of what abandonment issues actually are. This is the core belief on an unconscious and subconscious level that no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how I behave, I'm going to be left behind. Usually, this begins in foundation of either, in my experience, it's one of two places. One is a family dynamic relationship with parents. So, if a parent is either in and out of life and or inconsistent with their level of discipline or commitment to formulation of relationship, actually, let's expand parent to caregiver. If a caregiver is, inconsequentially related to being in and out of life through early formative years, usually, certainly by the age of about 10 to 12, we begin to see these challenges can happen a lot younger for super sensitive kids or kids who have emotional processing challenges as it begins. But um, that's what abandonment issues really stem from. The other is foundation of loving relationships romantically or platonically. So if a person has relationships that end abruptly or without clear explanation and them being grieved properly, that first romantic relationship or like the first best friend or inner circle friendship, platonic relationship ending abruptly will have the same long-term effect. Now, what we're going to talk about is the 6 signs that you may be dealing with those kind of things from an unconscious or subconscious expectation. The first is quick attachment. So, people that have things that relate to attachment disorder tend to attach extremely quickly to the idealization or the fantasy nature of a relationship romantically or in some cases platonically. The idea that this person is going to be the solution to one's problems can be a super attractive, although super toxic and unhealthy expectation. So, when you meet somebody new, if you're prone to being the person who, is thinking about spending forever with them a week or a month into the relationship, chances are you have an abandonment attachment issue related somewhere in your history, because what you're doing is you're trying to metaphorically make up for lost time through the process of the relationship. And so the issue is, at the core, you're looking to kind of kill the pain of that unresolved abandonment through the idea that the other person can make it all go away if you label the status or get to a committed status quickly. So, the next is the exact opposite of that, actually. If you begin to attach to someone but committing to that being a long term thing, brings up anxiety, panic, frustration, causes you to go cold or silent or think about ghosting the person because you're getting too attached, because there's potential damage and risk, because the feeling is that maybe you're going to be left behind. So the idea of committing to somebody and planning a future with them brings anxiety. Again, an abandonment issue may be at flaw because or at focus. Because remember, if the core belief on an unconscious level is that you're going to have issues where you're not good enough or someone labels you as not good enough, and therefore you're getting to a place where you begin to believe that your actions are just temporary, and so is this person in your life, then you are most likely dealing with fear of abandonment. Again, most of this isn't conscious. Again, most of this you may not even be aware of until you look at the pattern months, years, or even for some people decades later. The next is if you become a people pleaser so as not to lose that person in your life. So the idea there is my opinion, my feelings, my emotions don't matter nearly as much as keeping a person because I'm a failure if I don't have someone. So therefore, I'm going to let go of myself. I'm going to let go of the possibility of having a fair and equal and equitable relationship that's beneficial to me. I'm going to amalgamate or be a chameleon unto the relationship itself so that I can begin to have a guarantee that someone will stay. The problem is, how much of yourself are you willing to lose uh, so that you can ultimately get to a place where that relationship is, what I want or what I need or makes me feel comfortable. And how long can that last? In other words, if the belief is at the end of the day that I'm going to lose no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how I behave, then how much of myself am I willing to lose in order to keep the relationship going? That's another core question that a person with an abandonment challenge will eventually have to face. The next is you look for flaws. So the idea that a person is perfect is completely bogus, and the concept of twin flames, soulmates, and soul level connections, and that you only have one person in your life that can ever accept you completely. To me, in my experience of working with over 15,000 people all over the world, at this point, more than close to 36 to 40,000 sessions in 14 years. The idea of that one person is one of the most toxic core beliefs in society as it relates to relationships, because relationships take compromise and shifting, and so there's a difference between shifting in a relationship and losing oneself, and finding the balance between losing oneself and shifting can be extremely difficult. But if you are a, in a place where you fear abandonment on a continual basis, one of the things you're most prone to do is to kind of look at things and go, well, I am going to lose anyway, and I don't want that. So let me find reasons to give myself an out of this relationship and out of this connection. Because if I have reasons to have an out, then when I leave, I can legitimize to myself that I left in order to protect myself. Now, look, there are going to be challenges with every person that you are involved with, even if the challenge is, how do we learn to grow together? How do we be kind to each other at all times? How do we get to a place where we are embracing our strengths, covering our weaknesses, and learning to grow together? That's still a challenge, and it presents to every couple. But when you're automatically, even before you label a relationship or look to take things to the next level, when you're ready to run before you even get there, yeah, that's a sign that you need to really look at maybe you're creating flaws or the idea of flaws just to protect yourself. The next thing is you're not open, you're not willing to be vulnerable. And I talk to people about this all the time when I work with them as coaching clients. If you're not ready to lose, you're not ready to love. And what that means is not that every relationship is going to lead to loss. Certainly we hope that we have relationships that last for years, or for the most successful of us, decades. But if you're not ready to take the possibility of loss as even possible, then in reality, your expectation of relationships is negatively impacted, because your expectations of them is that they're supposed to complete you with no risk. Now, the problem with that is it comes from an abandonment-related challenge, in that the expectation of something being permanent before it even gets to a level of emotional commitment and intimacy where that's even possible becomes extremely damaging for people who ultimately don't understand how to set realistic expectations as it relates to those situations. That doesn't mean you're necessarily not a bad person or a good person. It just means that you have to be able to learn to set more realistic expectations in a way that works for you, that makes sense. And if you don't know how to do that, relationships can, in fact, and often do, become extremely frustrating because you're not open to the possibility of taking a risk on somebody and it's not worth it to you. Then the last point I want to make in this particular audio is separation anxiety. So, for people with severe abandonment issues, much like animals with severe abandonment issues, the process is the same. Obviously the function of the brain is much different, but the process is the same. You're gone, therefore I'm missing something. You're gone, therefore you're never coming back. You're gone, therefore I'm gonna lose. You're gone, therefore something bad's gonna happen. Animals go through this and they tear up the house. People go through this and they tear up their own emotional state. And they start to awfulize the things they're going to lose through the relationship. This is especially true for people with abandonment issues because they're looking for reasons for someone to leave them behind. And so this becomes extremely problematic, and it also becomes extremely difficult to be in relationship with a person who believes this way because at the end of the day, that person is looking for security in the wrong places. They have to find security within themselves to be able to get to a healthy position at all. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.